17th September, according to careful students of history, is not at all a important day in the history of Hyderabad that time. But for some strange reasons, different political parties, different groups, they are making a demand to celebrate it either as a day of merger, day of liberation, so many different names they are giving. And some people, particularly the Telangana JAC, as you can see from newspaper statement, they are also taking a stand that it should be taken as a day of merger with the Indian Union. Now, those people who demand that this day be celebrated either as day of liberation or day of merger and so on and so forth. Serious students of history somehow have a difficulty in agreeing with their position. Of course, to vouch my statement, I have the support of Professor Venkatrajam also here. Because many of these people who make this demand have not really read many of the authentic sources of history. That is the main problem. They have not read many authentic sources of history. There are 4 important sources which any serious student of history should necessarily read to understand what is this day, what is the significance of this day, if at all there is one. Please remember, if at all there is one. Okay. So therefore, Telangana History Society, a civil society group to which I belong and I represent in this forum here today, we have been researching on this event for quite some years now, and with the support and help of like-minded organizations like Chiranjeevi Saab and Captain Pandanga Reddy Saab and Samir and Millet and other organizations, we have been organizing various meetings for the last 5 to 6 years. And I am glad to some extent we have made people rethink on this issue. If not agree totally with us, at least we have made them rethink on this issue. I think to that extent, with our limited resources, we have made some progress. In all modesty, I can claim. Now, it is also equally important that today, the state government, the Telangana state government, as rightly pointed out by Chiranjeevi Sahab, has also maintained silence on this issue. Though they took a different stand during the course of the struggle for Telangana statehood, they have maintained some silence. I think rightly they did so, according to me. Rightly they did so. It's a different matter that their party, the party which is in power, is somehow trying to observe it as some kind of a day by hoisting some flag on the party's office and all that. That must be treated as purely a party affair, because some other parties are also doing it, like Congress is doing, and the BJP has gone to the extent of saying they will hoist the flag in Golconda Fort. Because I am just coming from Secretariat, I had the interaction with a very senior high-level person officer there. Permission for that event was not given. So we really don't know whether they have succeeded in hoisting the flag on Golconda Fort. Yeah, because the Archaeological Society of India has not permitted them. And the communists, our brothers communists, they are also claiming it as some kind of a victory, and they also want to celebrate it. And if I read some of these questions, you will appreciate For what reasons these political parties or these groups are really trying to make a big issue out of this particular day? Now I have straight questions which these parties and these groups should try to answer if they have really very sound answers to these questions. Now my question is, if the Indian Union Army marched into Hyderabad state with a view to liberate the people of the state, why was it styled as police action? Why did you not say it is a military action when your intention is only to liberate people? What prevented you from saying that it is a military action? Because if they had said so, it would have attracted international attention, number one. Because for all practical purposes, Hyderabad was a sovereign state. There was a standstill agreement. And please also remember, India was not a natural and legal successor to the state of Hyderabad after independence. Because if you look at it, when the British left India, some of the sovereign states were still having the sovereignty, and India could not have claimed as the natural successor of these states. So there was no way the Union government could say that Hyderabad state was part of the Indian Union. This is the fact, the legal fact and also a historical fact. Therefore, why they had to call this as police action? Because if they had said it was a military action, India would have been treated as an aggressor according to international law. It would have been treated as an aggression by one country on another country. Precisely for this reason, and there are also other reasons which other historians will explain. So according to me, to avoid that embarrassing situation that India would be branded as an aggressor, they have styled it as police action. So therefore, the question of liberation does not arise. When you send some people, particularly if you say it is police action, why do you send police only to control land order? Isn't it? Are you right in saying that you are liberating a people when you send a police force? So precisely for this reason, it is not a liberation. Number two, liberation also means freeing a society or a people or a community from all kinds of fetters. Political fetters, religious fetters, fetters in terms of rights, liberties, so on and so forth. Has this particular day really liberated people in the true sense of the term liberation? Because the events that followed, if you are a careful reader, careful student of history, you will appreciate that the events that followed did not really liberate the people. For what kind of liberation the people were asking, if at all they were asking, and what kind of freedom they got after this particular day is a very serious question. And what kind of fetters were there in the state of Hyderabad at that time? Were those fetters religious? Were those fetters ideological? Were those fetters any other political fetters? This is something which they have to answer. The third question is whether the state was a theocratic state. Whether the state was ruled by any Islamic injunctions, or was there any Hindu dharma which was applied as the law of the land. It was neither a Hindu state nor a Islamic state for all practical purposes. It was very much a secular state. So therefore, to say that a community or a society or a people have been liberated, in what sense you are using this word liberation? Have you liberated them from the clutches of Islam? Have you liberated them from the clutches of Hinduism or some other dharma? Is a question which these people, those who say that it is a day of liberation, must do well to answer, according to me. The other question is, can you brand Nizam as a religious fundamentalist or a fanatic or a bigot? There is so much of archival evidence. I think recently, last year or something, we had an occasion when Nizam and Archival Appraisal book was also released in the public garden. There are lot of evidences which go to show that Nizam never allowed his personal belief or his religion to interfere with the affairs of the state. On the contrary, the number of activities that he has taken to promote religious activity, like constructions of temples and donations to gurudwaras, apart from promoting various other socio-welfare economic measures, would go to prove that he was very much a secular ruler, and to say that therefore it was a liberation from the clutches of a Muslim ruler is absolute travesty of truth. Then we have certain questions for our comrades. Our comrades are saying that this is a day of liberation. It is also a day of liberation. Then we should be asking them, in what sense you are calling this a day of liberation, when the sole purpose given according to the historians, the rightist historians, the agenda of Sardar Patel was only to stem the rising popularity of the communists in Hyderabad state. It is very clear, they have not minced any words about it. They made it very clear why we are sending troops to Hyderabad, because there is some popularity of the communists, and therefore post-independence they did not want this state to go into the hands of the communists. It is very clear. And it was one of the agenda of Sardar Patel himself. Then our comrades should realize why they are asking this day to be liberated, because they were also beaten to death. Many of their fellow comrades were, as Sister Chiranjeevi had rightly said, many of them were butchered, many of them were incarcerated in concentration camps, and so on and so forth. So when their brothers were treated like this, how can their successive generations today celebrate this as a day of liberation? It's very strange, isn't it? So therefore, there is also another poser to our comrade friends. The Communist Party also praised Razakars as people's army. Now on one hand you say Nizam was responsible for all the atrocities that were perpetrated by the Razakars, and therefore he is given a title of a very tyrant ruler, and at the same time you say Razakars are people's army. How do you explain this contradiction? My question to the comrades. So therefore, the other important point is, as a trade-off, the communists had a trade-off with the Nizam, and for release of some of those comrades, none other than Raj Bahadur Gaur, who was for some time until then in underground, and he was hiding in some place, suddenly surfaced when Ram Narayan Reddy and others, they struck a deal with the Nizam for release of communists, and also for lifting ban on the Communist Party. Raj Bahadur, in a meeting in Hasmatganj, he himself declared that independent Hyderabad state is the policy of Communist Party. That is the statement made by none other than Raj Bahadur Gaur himself. So on one hand you say Hyderabad state must remain independent, that it must have all the rights of a sovereign state, and on the other hand you celebrate 17th September as a day of liberation. What is this contradiction? I would like to ask my comrades. Therefore, the claim that Hyderabad was liberated and should be celebrated as Day of Liberation either by the BJP or by the communists, I think is not founded on firm historical facts. If you dig deep into the history, some of these contradictions stare in their face, And today, I really do not know why they are celebrating this event. Is it also not a fact that the agenda of the Union government at that time, while sending the troops to the Hyderabad state, was also to bring Nizam into fall in line, to more or less agree to, finally merge with the Indian Union. Be that as it may for a moment. But where was the necessity for the Union troops, to be ordered to be, sent to Hyderabad state? In any case, the Nizam by then was also changing his attitude towards the government of India, and he was somehow willing to get a status of associated state with the government of India. And therefore, the whole issue of trying to subjugate the Hyderabad state through force was totally unwarranted. If only the Union government had waited for maybe a year or two, things would have certainly improved, and certainly Nizam would have, because he had already made his stance very clear that he is trying to get some kind of an associated state with the Union of India, and probably eventually it would have led to a natural integration with the Indian Union without so much of human loss. And therefore, in the course of that entire military action, the so-called military action, so many Muslims were butchered, and people have also made a mention of the classified document called the Sundarlal Report. And today, we should all be asking, all thinking people sitting here, should be asking the government of India why the Sundarlal Report is not made public. What is preventing you from making it public? If it was merely to liberate people from a tyrant ruler or from a religious bigot. So this is a question we should all be asking, and it is also equally a poser to the communists. On one hand, they say the Nizam really was afraid of the peasant struggle, the armed peasant struggle and so on. And therefore, this liberation had actually meant a far-reaching change in the socio-economic structure of the Hyderabad state. But if you look at the events that followed after 1948, what socio-economic changes have taken place? Nothing. As a result of all that peasant struggle, the land which our communist brothers claimed, that went into the hands of the poor and the oppressed, were reclaimed by the same people, and the same system, the same agrarian relations continued. Nothing had changed. The only change was that the so-called landed gentry once again came back in the form of netas wearing khadi and wearing Nehru topis and entered all democratic institutions like legislatures and so on. So in what sense has it really meant liberation? If you really say that in the sense of a French Revolution or a Russian Revolution, there should have been a far-reaching change in the socio-economic structure of the society. Nothing of that had happened. The agrarian relations remained the same. Nizam continued to be Raj Pramukh till he accepted the Constitution of India and the Constitution of Hyderabad state and so on. And he continued to issue various farmans. So in what real sense things have changed? Nothing has changed. Except to sort of bully the Nizam into the future integration with the state of Hyderabad. And therefore, in my considered view, I would think the Day of Liberation has absolutely no meaning, and the military action was totally unwarranted. If only you had allowed the Hyderabad state and the Nizam more time to understand the ground reality. And because by then he had already seen that he is surrounded by what is called India in the making. Pan-India was being coming into existence. And then he was also in a mood to kind of have some kind of an amicable relation with the Indian Union. Therefore, the whole carnage, the whole human loss in terms of butchering of various communists on one hand, Muslim brother on the other hand, and all that nonsense that had happened would have been prevented if only Sardar Patel had maintained some restraint. And as the speaker earlier had said, the entire operation was planned at a time when Nehru was away from the country, number one, and the day is also important because somehow Sardar Patel had also felt that the Nizam, how far it is correct, is also a matter of debate. But Nizam had some kind of support from Quaid-e-Azam Jinnah, which is absolute falsehood actually. That was his perception. That was the perception of Patel, that somehow he would get support from Jinnah. But various accounts, if you read Laik Ali's account and other sources, there was no help from Jinnah to the late Nizam. So therefore there was no way he could have got any assistance from, Jinnah and Pakistan. Therefore, the entire operation was ill-timed, misconceived, and it was with least regard to the various, the number of lives that were lost in the course of this action. And there are also certain posers to people who say that this was a day of merger or day of integration. And I would like to bring to your attention that merger, my dear friends, will happen only when there is consent. When can I merge with somebody? When there is a consent. Have the people of Hyderabad consented to merge with Indian Union? What kind of opinion, referendum have you taken? That means you have assumed for yourself that it is a day of merger and people have consented. No, there was no consent from the people of Hyderabad state. So therefore, in my view, it is also not a day of merger because there is no consent of the people from the state of Hyderabad. And there are also certain factual information, and it must go to the credit of one of the speakers who will follow after me, Captain Ponnanga Reddy Sir. He had corresponded with the Ministry of Defence and also the Supreme Court, and both have, in a reply to a question under the Right to Information Act, have clarified that the state of Hyderabad was merged, or rather it got integrated into the Indian Union only on 26th January 1950. So my dear friends, why are we celebrating this day? We all have to think again and again. And we also have to educate people who are making these demands, and we should invite them to join us in this discussion and debate. And let informed debate continue, and let us take informed decisions rather than taking decisions based on our political ideology or some other purpose. Thank you very much indeed.